Dann ich lade dich ein.
Oh,
Ja,
it
genau.
works. Okay.
It works. Perfect.
Nice. As I said, why do I invest in real estate? I mean, this is my opinion, and I will show you some facts. I mean, it's Alicia already told something about the demand in Germany, about about the apartments in Germany we need. There's one thing I saw this week, and I was thinking about, okay, what should I show you tonight in the evening? I thought, okay, this is one very interesting picture I saw this week. A friend of mine, he posted this in WhatsApp. This is a map of Europe where you see how many people in Europe own real estates. And I mean, when we talk about Germany in Europe, actually, we have to talk about the strongest economy in Europe. Yeah, the strongest economy. Most of, like, I would say the richest economy or the richest country in Europe. But only 48% of the people which live in Europe, in Germany, own a real estate. If we compare this with Poland, for example, in Poland, we have 87% of people owning a real estate. So if you would ask me today, once again, this question, why do you invest in real estate for investment? I'm talking about not for my own home. I mean, this is something we can talk about, discuss. But if we talk about in real estate for investment, I will give you this answer, because we live in a tenant country. People live for rent in Germany. Only 48 people own real estates in Germany. So this is one of my biggest arguments, I would say, why I invest in real estate. And I mean, everybody needs a roof above their head. Everybody needs square meters. And I would say the inflation, this is what Alyssa already explained a little bit. Inflation works like this, like the value of the money gets less and less and less. Yeah, but if we think about a square meter, the square meter will not get less. Okay, if we think about kilogram, gold, real estate, square meters, this is, for me, this is the real value. This is an asset where we should invest in. Okay, and we will say during the meeting today, or during the webinar today, how does it work with real estate, especially when we talk about retiring or retirement. Yeah, Alyssa already said we have a problem because of inflation. And right now, I would like to ask you a question. Why, what do you think, all of you? You can write this in the chat. What do you think? How many people in Germany right now get 3,000 euros or more as a pension right now? What do you like? How many people? How many percent in Germany? What would you say? I mean, there's no wrong, no right. Less than 5%, okay? %, 20%. Interesting. Interesting. I was asked, somebody asked me this question, I would say 1 year ago. And I said somewhere between 5 and 8%. This is what I like. I mean, I'm in consultation. I see the pension forecast. I saw my pension forecast. And I said, yeah, somewhere between 5 and 8%. Very interesting. 1 year ago, there were 80%, 80 people, which got 3,000 and more in Germany as a pension. Right now, if you Google, you can Google right now, 50 persons, not percent, but 50 persons, 50 people in Germany get 3,000 euros or more as a pension. Crazy. This was very shocking. Like, I was very shocked 1 year ago when I heard this. I mean, 3,000 euros. I guess most of you you earn more than 3,000 euros. And I would say with 3,000 euros somewhere in a big city right now, yeah, it's okay to live. I mean, you can have a good lifestyle, but it's not that great. It's not that amazing. Okay, but imagine you work 40 years in a row in Germany, in the richest country of Europe, and then you get you have 8 more hours in a day, but you get only 2,000 euros, 1,500 euros after inflation. This was very shocking for me back then when I started to invest in real estate. But we will talk about pension and we will talk about retiring later, and we will see which solutions do we have, especially when it comes to real estate. So the first question is, I would say, which is very interesting for all of us, what do we need to invest in real estate? What is the requirement right now in Germany? I can tell you it changed a lot in the last years. Yeah, I would say 5-6 years ago, we had like you didn't have to have 3,000 euros of netto, yeah, like in hand. It was like 2,200 euros, 2,400, 2,500 euros. Right now, it gets more and more, like I would say it's like more the wealthy people can invest in real estate, but not, I mean, 3,000 euros is what most of the people, I would say, earn right now, especially when it's like expats. You're more in IT and project manager, whatever. So this is something we need a stable income. Not only this, we need an unlimited working contract, a clean Schufa, and savings round about 10% of the purchasing price, round about. That's because the banks want you to pay the site cost, like the notary cost, the registration cost, then the tax, and so on. And what else do we need? We need a blue card, a PR, or a passport. Even for blue card holder, it's possible right now to get a loan from the bank. Okay, so that's about requirement, a little bit about requirement. Sorry. How does it look like when it comes to buy a real estate? And I can tell you, I draw a little bit of a picture. We will talk about this later on too. First of all, it was back then 7 or 8 years ago, it was actually the same. It was also very important for me to get some knowledge from somebody's. I mean, a lot of people, they Google, they take like, they join some seminar, or they Google this in the internet, or they meet a consultant like me. So knowledge is very, very important to get to understand why is it good to invest in real estate. The second point is always, or the second step is always the same. It's a self-declaration. Self-declaration. This means we need some numbers from you. This means we want to know, okay, how much do you earn? How much do you want to invest? How much income do you have? Like, how much savings do you have? Which savings do you have? Do you have ETFs? Do you have life insurance, pension plan, whatever? So then with this self-declaration, we can calculate a number. This is a number what we get from the bank. How much euro you could get as a loan from the bank. Okay, so this is like the first steps, 1, 2, 3. These are the, with these 3 steps, we can simulate, okay, this is how much you could get from the bank. And then we can see in the 4th step, we can check a property. So we will do a calculation, and also we will see, okay, where's the apartment? What is the location where the apartment is? And also, how high is the investment? How much should you invest, or how much do you have to invest for this property? So after this 4th step, and you will see, I marked this here, 1 meeting, 2nd meeting, 3rd meeting. After the 3rd meeting, some clients, they need a little bit of more meeting because they have more questions. I mean, this is totally okay for us. But the typical client, after the 3rd meeting, he says, listen, I would like to reserve the apartments, and I would like to invest into this building. I want to buy this building. And with the reservation contract, we block the apartment for you, or we block the apartment for the client. So after we get we have the calculation, we have your numbers, then also we get your documents. So this means all together we take we get and we give this to our loan broker, and we get from the bank a number with some percentage. So I think most of you, you have to pay an interest charge, and you also have to pay a repayment to pay back the loan. So these numbers we get from the bank. And after all, if you say, listen, Samuel, that's fine, numbers are fine, this matches with the calculation we had before, then it takes around about 10 to 20 days until the bank agrees, until we check everything with the notar and so on, and then we go see the apartment, and then if everything is fine, we go and sign the contract at the notary. Okay, this is how the steps look like. It's round. These are like round about 4 or 5 meetings. It depends, as I said. Some clients have more question, and some clients have less question, and some are faster. Some need a little bit more information, a little bit more of meetings. But this is how it looks like when it's when you want to buy a real estate. But at this point, I mean, now imagine you bought one real estate. Now it comes actually to the main, to the main topic I would like to talk about. A lot of people ask me, okay, Samuel, now I bought one real estate, but back then in the first or second meeting, you told me, listen, you should buy more than one or two. You should buy, I mean, if you ask me, Alisa knows me, I would say minimum 5, minimum 10. Yeah, but that's me. Alicia always says, "Listen, Samuel, please don't talk about too many real estate." But actually, I would say minimum 3 real estates is what you need for the future. This is actually what I really say. Honestly, this is what you need to be stable in the pension, to be stable when you retire. And
Samuel, because
yeah.
it gets easier, right? Maybe because I myself I haven't like been there, but you reach the 12 plus that you say, oh my God, it just gets so easy. It's also a bit like the mindset, that I have to also break my mindset a little bit. For sure.
Yeah, it's always, I mean, as you see, Alisa, we had a lot of clients in the past, yeah. And as you experienced, the first real estate is always the hardest one,
The
always.
hardest.
Because I mean, you have to understand the process. You have to understand the contracts. You have to understand how does it work with the management and so on. So from the first like after the first buying or purchasing a real estate to the third, fourth, fifth, it's also it's quite hard. Not hard, but it's quite. You have to negotiate with the banks and so on. But I would say from the fifth on, it's very easy, especially if you have a nice portfolio and you developed the portfolio you had. But this is what we will talk about later on. Yeah? But this is what a lot of people ask me, okay, Samuel, now I have one real estate, but how can I develop, how can I increase the numbers, the number of my real estates? And this is, let's talk about this. But before, I would like to go back a little bit to the pension plan, what Alicia mentioned back then, because, or let's say not only pension plan, but also, let's say stocks, let's say ETFs, pension plan, life insurance, Basisrente, whatever. What would you say? What do you think? How much does an average German pays in a month into a pension plan? Maybe your experience, like how much do you pay in a pension plan? Roundabout average, what would you say in a month? $250, okay.
Oh, We were disconnected for a second.
900 self and same employer. Okay. Good. 900 is very good. 200. Okay. I would say, like, out of my experience, what I experienced in the last 6 years actually of consultation, I would say most of the people, like in average, people invest round about 300 euros in a month, round about 300 euros. So let's take the same number and we will see if we can, if this matches. Like, I would somehow like to not compare those assets with real estates, but I will somehow show you the differences, okay? And also show you how can you take this 300 euros and how can you invest in real estate with 300 euros? And let's talk about the real estate for 300,000 euros. I would say, and I mean, most of you, I would say, don't live in a bad location, live in a better location, and for 300,000 euros, not downtown, but a little bit outside of a bigger city. Let's talk about 80 square meters for 300,000. Okay, is realistic. And now let's say you get around about 12 euros and 50 cents for 1 square meter. It should be around about 1,000 euros in a month as an income. Cold rent. I'm talking about cold rent. Okay. And let's say on the other side, as an expense, now you are the owner of the real estate and you give it for rent. And now on the other side of, like, on the expense side, let's say you have 1,300 euros of expenses for the bank, for the management, for the maintenance, and so on, for like interest charge, initial amount, whatever. And let's say, that's why I took the 300 euros, 300 euros of investment after tax. I mean, this is a topic we can talk about until tomorrow in the morning. Tax return, tax advantages with real estate. But after, let's say after tax, after all, you have an investment of 300 euros in a month. Okay. And I can tell you, by the way, this is something I had back then, 2017, when I started in investing in real estate. I had the same number back then, but I have right now totally different numbers. But we will see together how can we develop or how can we decrease this number. So now imagine, or let's say you buy one real estate for 300,000 euros. And I mean, this is how it works in Germany, and I don't think only in Germany, but most of the time, the real estates, when we talk about the last 40, 50, 60 years, the real estate, the prices went up in like over the time. Some years the prices, they stayed the same. Some years the price went down, but in average, it went up by minimum 4%. This is what we had the last 40 years. Okay, but let's talk about not about what we can expect in the future, but let's talk about right now 300,000 euros. And let's say you invest 300 euros in a month into this real estate. And now it comes to the point, a lot of people ask me, Samuel, how did you make it back then when you started 2017? How could you buy all the time second, third, fourth real estate? First of all, I mean, there are 2 points. First of all, I took care about the 300 euros. And let's talk about the 300 euros. I mean, all of you know the prices or the rents in Germany, they always increase. And now there are different ways how to increase the rent. The typical law, like the law in Germany says this, every third year you can increase by 15 or 20%. It depends on the location. If it's downtown Berlin, for example, it's up to 15%. In other locations is up to 20%. This is one way. If you have a long-term tenant, then there are other ways. And this is something, by the way, we help our clients with to develop to furniture an apartment, like a service apartment, guest worker apartment, or like Airbnb booking.com, something like that. to increase the income. And I can tell you, by the way, it's around about between 20 and 40, sometimes 50%. So clients get more rent than a long-term tenant would pay if we would not develop, if we would not help our clients. Okay. So back then, when I did the first investment, I started 2 years later. I started with renting out as a furnished apartment. So this 300 euros went down very, very fast. It went down, and actually it went down to a passive income. Like I got money from the real estate. Okay, until now, I'm still getting money every month. Okay, this is one point. How can I buy the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the 10th real estate, because I don't have no expenses anymore for my first real estate. The second point is, whenever you ask for the second or the third or the fourth real estate, the bank always wants to know, okay, what is your portfolio? And now a lot of clients, they say, listen, I have ETFs, I have stocks, I have a pension plan or whatever. The bank always wants to see like a statement, how much money or how high is the value of your portfolio. And also, if you own real estates like me or like other clients or like Alicia, the bank wants to know, okay, and now they will calculate how much is the current market price, like did the market price go up? And also how high is the remaining loan? So back then, when I started with real estate, it was like 3 years later, I asked for the second investment. I asked for the second loan. The bank always wants to know, okay, how much expenses for the first real estate, and also how much did you make with the second with the first one? Okay, so this difference the bank calculates as a safety. So this means if we compare this to stocks, to ETFs, stocks and ETFs, they have like 40 to 50% is what the bank calculates. When it comes to real estate, it's between 70 and 80%. Why? Because it's a very safe investment. Okay. So actually, clients which buy one real estate and then they buy the second one, first of all, as I said, this is one of our service. We take care about the income, so we increase the income. Second of all, I mean, you cannot calculate the how high is the safety after half of a year or 1 year, because you didn't pay as like a lot back to the bank, and the price didn't go up like 20% in half of a year. So it would not make sense, but maybe for the third, the fifth, the 10th real estate, this would make sense, like the first investment. So actually, when people ask me, how can I invest in the second, the third, this is the secret. Like you can take the safety to buy the second one. You can take also the safety to buy the third one, and so on. So my goal is, and this is what I really said to my friends, and a lot of friends. I'm like in a real estate bubble. Yeah, but I would say 90% of my friends, they own real estates. One of my best friends, he's 33. He owns 184 real estates. Self-made. How did he do? He did it the same way like I'm doing right now. He bought and bought and bought and bought. Yes, he had a little bit more benefits back then, 2015 or 2014, when he started, but it's always a good time to invest in real estate. And at this point, I can tell you, I just remember these days when I talked back then to my father. It was 2002, my father built a house, and I know he always complained about the prices. 2013, he bought the second house. My parents, they moved. They bought the second building, and my father said, listen, the price went up so crazy. Everything is so expensive. And actually, it never changed. When I bought 2017 my apartments, somehow it was expensive. Today, when I look back then it was very. I mean, comparing to today, it was crazy. It was nice. So I can promise you, in 10 years, you will look back and you will say, listen, back then it was a very good time to invest. So it's always a very, very good time to invest in real estate, because you can use all those benefits to invest not only in one or two, but also in 3, 4, 5 real estates. This is what I wanted to say. My goal is all my friends in my bubble should own minimum 5 real estates, and let's see together. In the worst case, if you just own, like, worst case is, I mean, if you own 3 real estates is not the worst case, but let's calculate how the worst calculation could look like if you only own 3 real estates. And I would say we should not take just only with 3 real estates, but let's calculate if, let's say, you would invest 300 euros all the time. You would not increase the rent. You will not develop the apartment. You will not furnish the apartment. You will not, the tenant will move out. You will rent it out for the same price. Okay. Let's calculate 300 euros of investment from your own pocket, like it's the minus investment, yeah, at the negative cash flow. 300 euros times 12 times, and let's say you pay this apartment back in, let's say, around about 25 years. Okay, so let's calculate 300 times 12 times 25, 90,000 euros. And let's take this times 3. So your investment in total, if you would not increase none of this real estate, which is really not, makes no sense, but let's take the bad or the worst situation. 90,000 times 3, like 3 apartments, would be 270,000 euros. And now assume in 25 years, you own 3 real estates, and you look back and you think about, okay, or you calculate, okay, did this investment make sense with the versus numbers? Let's calculate. I mean, we could also be actually fair to calculate what if it would increase by 2%, like the price. But let's say the prices stay the same. Like really unrealistic, but like not realistic, but let's say the worst situation, the prices stay the same. So this means in 25 years, so today is 2024, in 25 years would be 20 and 49. In 25 years, your investment, like your portfolio, would have 900,000 euros, which you could sell. And by the way, one of the biggest benefits in Germany, you could sell tax-free. Okay. Or you could hold this real estate with 3 times 1,000 euros of rent, which you didn't increase in the last 25 years, which would give you 3,000 euros in a month. So this is actually the bad or the worst situation you could have in the future with only 3 real estates. I mean, I can give you a lot of examples of clients which bought not only 2 or 3, but they bought 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 real estates. So whenever we talk about investing in ETF, pension plan, or whatever, I can tell you, I can spoil a little bit. The thing is, if you invest in a pension plan, you invest, let's say, 300 euros. Yeah? And you have, let's say you have 5%, you have 3% of increasing every year. But you only invest 300 euros. So this could look like this. Yeah. At the end, you have a number, I don't know, 60, 70, 100,000 euros. But maybe you already heard about a lot of pension plans. They have like a dynamic. I mean, they ask you to pay more during the years because they want you to have a good performance. Okay. This is something, this is one of the biggest differences in pension plan where you have to pay more and more, and in real estate where you have to pay less and less over the years. So when we compare this with a real estate, it's like this leverage effect, yeah, or this you leverage 300,000 right away. If it's only 2% every year or 4% every year, you can calculate. I mean, this is something we can calculate until tomorrow in the morning, how much you could make in 25 years. Okay. And the good thing is in this way, in this situation, the 300 euros you invest in the beginning, if you are smart, if you know how to develop a real estate, if you have the right contact, like the right guide, you can decrease this a lot over the time. Okay, and this is something one of like not only one service we have, but this is something I would say it's like the cherry on the top, and a lot of experts clients they experience this in the past, in this year, last year, year before. How like we help our clients, we manage the apartment, we take care about furnishing, we take care about the handyman, we take care about the companies which wants to move in. We take care about the advertising of the apartments in the internet. We have a network of companies we work with which come over and over the years. And we take care about the location, we take care about the house management and whatever. So the question is always, with whom do you work to develop this? And how can you decrease this investment very, very fast? Okay. Does anybody have like any question from your side?
Oh yeah, George here. So I have a couple of questions. So, do you have a mechanism to sort of forecast or sort of envisage what the cost might be? Of course, if let's say you have this property and you were able to run some couple of numbers to see the percentage of occupancy in a year when the apartment is occupied, and then run that number down the road to then see what is the percentage of what could then be the cost when it is not occupied. If you then run that simulation a year, what is the average of that?
Actually, I can tell you the average of our occupation in a year. This is what I can tell you. Okay.
Okay.
Between 95 and 97%.
Okay.
This is it's very, very high. Yeah? The one of the best hotels, like I'm talking about a hotel. A hotel is actually a different story, but a hotel, one of the best hotel in Germany has 60%. Yeah. 95 to 97% is something in average. Yeah. Some apartments we have, I mean, this is what we have to talk very honestly. During a New Year's time, during Christmas time, there are some apartments that are empty. Okay, that's how it is. This is how it is. But this is something. I mean, we can calculate right now a lot of like really we could do a lot of calculation. But this is something we can. What I can offer to you is to check this in detail, and then I can show you references from clients, and I can show you with an Excel how many empty days in a year they had, in like on the paper. Like there's no.
Thanks.
Transfer.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Thanks. Yeah.
But this is something we can do individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I want to say something at this point. Let's say like this. Everybody wants this cow, which gives you passive income, 1,000 euros a month. But I can tell you, out there on the market, you will not find this. You will not find this cow. You will have to buy a baby, and then you will have to feed this baby until you get this cow, which
It says
gives you
cash cow, Schatz. Cash cow.
Yeah, cash cow. Correct. So this is the thing, to find this baby, okay, and not to search for the cash cow, because you will lose a lot of months and a lot of years to search for this cash cow. And
Yep.
yes, there are opportunities to grow this baby very fast. There are a lot of opportunities on the market if you know how, if you have the network, and if you have the knowledge. But most of the time, our clients, they buy this baby which we develop together.
All right, thanks for that.
Samuel, I have a question.
Mhm.
You said at the beginning you need about like 10% to start investing. Now, it depends on the property price. If someone, because I get the question a lot also on LinkedIn from new people. Can someone with like 10,000 to 20,000, what I think it's like a realistic like saving goal, start with real estate?
I mean, it's always a question, how high is the price? I mean, how high is the purchasing price? Yeah. The purchasing price is 200, then 10%, 20,000 would last, like it's enough. But I can tell you, there are still ways to get more than 100% from the loan.
From the bank. Yeah.
From the bank. But this is not common. Okay, this is
Yeah.
if you have a very high, like a very good salary, if
Yeah.
everything is fine, and if the bank rates the apartment, but it's always better to have those 10%, to invest those 10%. It's always better.
10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
10%. When I talk about 10%, this is like the common percentage in Germany, but actually it depends on in which state do you invest. Yeah. For example, if you invest in Bavaria, it's 5.5% because we have 3.5% of tax, 2% of registration costs and notary costs. If you invest in Baden-Württemberg, then we have 7%, in Hessen 6%, 8%, in Hamburg 8.5%. So it really depends where you invest. And this is something I want to mention, also, by the way, if you search on the internet for real estate, I mean, most of the time you have to calculate the commission for the real estate agent. Yeah, this is something we don't have. We don't we don't charge the commission from our clients. We just charge the commission from the seller. Okay, so this is something in Germany. This is allowed to just charge it from the seller, but you are not allowed to just charge it from the client, from the buyer. Okay, that's why actually we have to talk about 7 or 8% of side cost, which you should have as savings on your bank account.
Okay, and this is not the Eigenkapital. You know, like there are two things, right? Like the Eigenkapital, like the equity that you put your own money, like a down payment. But you're talking right now about like the side cost, right?
Like, I mean, you need this Eigenkapital for the side.
Eigenkapital. Understood. Okay. Understood.
There's a question posted on the channel.
Yes. About inflation. Can you read it? Siehst du das?
Inflation adjustment of 2 to 4% is the bare minimum annualized growth expected. Actually, I just talked to a friend. He or she's in nearby Frankfurt, for example. We had still during this time now where everybody says the prices stayed the same or went up only 1 or 2%. She told me, like, we did we saw the price, it went up around about 7 to 8% in very good location. Yeah, in A cities, in A location, you have more than 4%. That's how it is. This is what we had also in the last years, for sure. But the question is always, yes, the two, I mean, we have an inflation between 2 and 4%, but the question is always, how fast, let's say, like, how much do you invest in the beginning, and how fast do you decrease this investment? And how fast can you generate passive income? This is what I'm looking for. Yeah, and it's always nice to have something in the future in 15, 20, 25 years, but it's also interesting, also nice to have something right now, to have something, to get something out of the real estate and then to invest again into a second real estate or into another asset.
Sorry.
Some more question?
Are we starting the Q&A, Samuel?
I just started. Yeah.
Okay, it's very good. I think if I have questions, yeah, if you have questions, guys, in general about like maybe you have already like retirement or like you're planning, you know, and you have like X budget, feel free like to ask anything. Also maybe about like other investments. I mean, because everything is at the end it's tied to, you know, one portfolio. I want to like make a question for all of us that is very interesting and very common to ask. What if we move out of Germany?
Mm-hmm. It's a very good question. I mean, we have a lot of experts, yeah, and this one of the first questions we get during the individual consultation. First of all, let's be honest. Now you buy something in Germany, you have to open your portfolio. Like, you have to show everything to the bank. You have to show the last 3 months of bank account statements, yeah, where they see, do you go to Rewe or to Lidl or to Aldi? Yeah? They see everything. They know about you everything. And when it comes to this document from the bank where the bank signs, okay, now we give you the yes. Now we give you the yes. You are allowed to go to the notary, you can sign. You will get the 300,000 euros. Actually, 10 days later, 1 week later, if you get unemployed, they don't really care. You could get unemployed, you could move to another city. As far as they get their money, they don't care. And this is what I will want to say, what I want to tell you. Now we have a client, he moves to the Netherlands. He asked me, Samuel, what happens? I want to move to Netherlands, or we had a client that moved to Austria, to Switzerland, yeah. Then thank God one way for, like, during COVID we got a little bit more digitalized, also with banks. So this means you get everything digitalized. You get everything via email. You don't get no letter. Okay. So now this topic, like bank, is done. Like we can move out of Germany. When it comes to the tax declaration, you have to know the real estate is like a company. Okay. You get an income, you have expenses, and you have to prove, you have to do a tax declaration for this real estate. Even if you don't live in Germany, you have to tell the government, listen, I had an income of 15,000, but I had also expenses of on the paper of 20,000. Okay. So for you expats, there are always ways to not only to move out, but also to get this managed, especially if you have a management like we offer to our clients, where you don't have to go there every month or every second, third, fourth, sixth month. And there are also companies in the meanwhile where you can send your all the letters to, and they will digitalize and send this via email. So there are always these ways, and this is something we can in let's say in 2 years you want to move out of Germany, you can contact me. We will find a way. We have some interesting solutions.
Escape plans. That's great. That's good, always. Then there's another question. Are there cash new neutral or positive properties existing in the current market?
Let's say like this, with the current interest charge and with the current interest charge, if you have a long-term tenant, like a typical long-term tenant, if the tenant lives in there already 5, 6, 7, 10 years, it would not be possible. But if you have a tenant which moves out, or you buy an empty apartment, okay, then you furnish the apartment, then it's a different situation. So this is what I can tell you. I got my real estate's positive because of furnishing the apartments. Because I said, listen, I don't want to waste my time during this interest charge time, like where we had a little bit higher interest charges. So there's always a way to increase the income. But yes, I think with furnishing, there are ways and opportunities.
Yes, of course. We're doing it like just yeah. If it's through furnituring, if not, then obviously not. And good question. What if I move out or we move out? Is there the tax-free situation on properties? Is it still there? Like, yeah, right. So it's like a common right, a common law in Germany. Okay. Yes. So in overall, what I noticed from our consultations is that real estate, because many people are, I would say, afraid to buy real estate, to enter in the real estate game, because it's overwhelming. It's we think it's a lot of paperwork. It's so just, it's also, yeah, you buy something big, and the price is high. But what I notice is like, it's not that difficult. I mean, it's becoming it's becoming easier and easier. Like I like this approach to motivate people, like to put their money into like another asset as well, and to see that it's not impossible.
Yeah, you're totally right. A lot of people, they think, I mean, there is paperwork to do. This is what we cannot deny. There is a lot of paperwork, but let's say like this. If you have something who explain this to you, yeah, then it's quite easy. Yeah? And after the first purchasing a real estate, then actually, like if you went through this process one time, it's easy.
Yeah, I'm very curious if someone like in the chat, like also new people that we're meeting, like have real estate already, or what is your experience? What is, for example, something that you wish you would knew or do better, or maybe you have some other experience what we're talking about. Okay.
There's one question. Would you buy a house as an investment property if numbers work well, as in cash flow neutral from the day one, or would you focus on it? Very good question. I would ask you a question. I don't know the name, but
Exactly. What is your name? It's like
Yeah.
iPhone.
Is it iPhone?
No.
Is it your first investment, or is it the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth investment? Because I can tell you about myself, I didn't invest in a house right away. It can make sense, but somehow what I know is, or what I experience is this. If you have a house which belongs only to you, the whole building, now if something happens to the heating, to the roof, to the electricity, whatever, you have to pay everything as an owner. Like you cannot divide this risk on 5, 6, 7, 10 owners. So I always suggest to buy first the first 2, 3, 4, 5 real estates, like smaller units where you can divide this risk. Okay. Because if something happens, then you have, I don't know about which house do you target. Is it like a Mehrfamilien house with a lot of units, or a single house? If it's a single house, I cannot imagine that the numbers make sense. I cannot imagine, because comparing to the price of the house, you cannot get that rent by a house. I cannot imagine that you have a neutral cash flow from day one, but it could be, I don't know.
Reihenhaus, yeah.
As I said, the risk is this is totally your risk if you buy an whole house. And most of the time, if I think about the investment, like how much, I don't know how much the investment from your pocket would be, like how much your down payment. If it would be like more than 60, 70, 80,000, I would say, listen, split those
Yeah.
60,000 and buy 2 or 3 different locations. Yeah, to split somehow the risk, if in case in this location you don't have a demand not that high. For example, if you rent it out as a furniture, I'm always thinking about this business model about renting out as furniture apartment. So I'm always interested in to split the risk, yeah, and I mean always in a good location. But in case in this city it doesn't work anymore, I don't want to have this high risk because I bought everything in the city. That's my opinion.
Perfect. If you don't have any more questions, what time is it?
8:12.
8:12. If someone like wants to have like or have more personal questions and or like to have like a personal meeting, because at the end like it's really so personal with real estate, like let me know or drop us a message later, or I can come back to you guys and then we can calculate that with your numbers. That's always like best, because also not all real estate, you cannot all every time apply this to all real estate. So there's always like you as the buyer and the real estate need to be, need to match. So this is quite individual, I would say, from experience with the clients. Nice. Thank you, Stefan.
One sentence from my side at the end, and I mean, I can tell you, I'm the big, as I said in the beginning, I'm the biggest fan of real estates in Germany. I always tell, and I will tell this to my small kid, when he will grow up. I will tell this to everybody out there. Don't wait to buy real estates, but buy real estates and then wait. This is what I always say. Because buy real estate and you wait, you cannot be poor. This is not possible.
Yeah. Now you need a mic and drop it and leave.